I feel old. Spider-Man 2 is officially 20 years old. Hello everyone, it's the 20th anniversary of Spider-Man 2, and this was such a cinematic event when it first came out. Let me tell you, if you weren't around yet, some of you probably weren't even born, Spider-Man was such a massive hit in 2002. It was also quite the patriotic, uplifting film we needed post 9/11. The sequel is highly anticipated. Originally it was going to be called Amazing Spider-Man, and then the title was Spider-Man 2. I remember seeing the first promotional image of Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, and that was just like so amazing at the time. There was so much riding on this film, and it's crazy. We almost did not have Tobey Maguire in the film. He filmed Seabiscuit before this and had a back injury. We almost had Jake Gyllenhaal play our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in this film. He would have been a great replacement, but luckily, as the fates had it, Tobey Maguire would return and Jake Gyllenhaal would play Mysterio later down the road. I remember it like yesterday. This was such a highly anticipated film, and this was the last film I saw in the Austin area before my family moved down to South Texas. And originally it was supposed to be like on July 2nd, I think, or July 3rd. It was supposed to be on July 4th weekend, I think July 2nd, and it got moved earlier to June 30th. So we were all excited that we're going to get to see Spider-Man 2 early. We saw the trailers leading up to this. You know, you had that epic music, Lacrimosa. You had that reveal of like, let's see who's behind the mask. And then Harry Osborn revealing the mask, and the trailer cut into just two on there. And then you also had the trailer too with Mary Jane asking Peter Parker, do you love me? And that whole car scene. It was all over the cinemas as far as like every movie we went to go see. Starsky and Hutch, Passion of the Christ, Punisher, Hellboy, all had trailers to Spider-Man 2. My family was going through a move, and during that time, the day I actually saw The Punisher, my mom got me this 12-inch statue of Spider-Man. We also had Alfred Molina's figure, and the arms were hell to put on. My brother had to help me with that. Unfortunately, during one of the moves, the arms snapped off, and it snapped in place, so I don't have it anymore. And that bums me out. Maybe I'll try to find one on eBay. I was excited for this. We got the merchandise. I got a poster, that Destiny poster. This film was so highly anticipated. The talk shows, seeing what was going to happen with the ending of Spider-Man 1 and the whole will they, won't they on Peter Parker and Mary Jane. And then also Dr. Otto Octavius, one of the most iconic villains from the comics, being wonderfully portrayed. And Sam Raimi knocked it out of the park. This at one time was the best comic book film ever made. And it still is one of the best. Follows true after Superman 2 of like dealing with like the hero doing what he wants versus what's needed. And I love seeing the I'm Spider-Man No More arc from the comics. Mentally, he's blocked. He's not being fulfilled in life. He has other responsibilities that he's fallen behind. So he has to take a break from Spider-Man. And then that's when trouble starts. We saw this, and it was such an amazing movie. Norman Osborn was a villain, but he kind of was already kind of like a bad person, where Otto Octavius is such a sympathetic villain. It's a tragedy what happens here with his wife. In many ways, it resembles Mr. Freeze in the Batman comics. I just love how sympathetic we get to see Otto Octavius and the practical effects with puppetry. A real-life grounded exploration of how would a person be Doc Ock, you know? I love the humor. J. Jonah Jameson is just great in this. Mary Jane getting engaged. It just sends your heartstrings. If you're a romantic or just a human being, just seeing the love of your life with someone else is just a heartbreaking feeling. And then our Spider-Man is going through this. Meanwhile, he has a rift with his friend Harry, who blames Spider-Man for the death of his father, Norman Osborn. So he's trying to find Spider-Man. He wants to make him pay. There's a lot of great stuff that was set up in here that unfortunately wasn't fully executed well after. We didn't have a full payoff. But I do love the will they, won't they. I love seeing Peter Parker work as a delivery boy, dealing with school, seeing Dr. Connors, the raindrops keep falling on my head scene is just so funny and iconic. And I love the rubber band joke on Doc Ock. I love seeing Peter Parker finally go back to being a hero and coming back as Spider-Man. That was just done so well. And then the mask reveal, of course, with Harry. It's like, there's bigger things at stake than you and me. The train fight is just awesome. And speaking of fights, I love it when he saves Mary Jane. That is such a great moment. Power of the sun in the palm of my hand. And then the ending is just so uplifting. Yet there's that moment of like realization for Mary Jane of like, this is going to be our lives from here on out. What did I just commit to, you know? And to top it off, right before the very ending, we have William Dafoe show up as Norman Osborn in a vision, much like the comics and animated series, and Harry finds out about the truth with the Green Goblin. And it sets up the stuff for later with like Green Goblin 2 or Hobgoblin stuff. Like, oh, there's so much promise in this that I wish they didn't go with that freaking snowboard extreme sports look in the third one. Despite what happened in the future and with reboots, you can't deny this film is just a pure fun classic comic book film, and they don't make them like they used to. Something about these first two Raimi films are just great because they honor the comics yet bring it onto screen while also grounding it in our reality. And that's what Marvel Comics does best when they're not having green screen and a whole bunch of horrible jokes. They have characters that are superhuman but still deal with human problems, and that's what I love about Tobey Maguire here. He's better than ever. This, with Dark Knight, I think, are the best superhero sequels, hands down. It was also fun playing the video game around this time. Probably the best Spider-Man game until the 2018 one. First open-world sandbox game, and the in-cinematic graphics were just so awesome. Oh yeah, and who could forget the soundtrack with Vindicated, Ordinary by Train, Meant to Live by Switchfoot, and then Danny Elfman's score with Alex Ross's opening with the paintings. Anyway, those are just my memories in retrospective of Spider-Man 2. Let me know, where were you when Spider-Man 2 came out? Were you not born yet? Were you a kid? Or were you like me, or even older? Did you remember seeing this wonderful film in the theater? Let me know down in the comments below.